Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the A3 Football Show. Um, we're just breaking down how we see things going at the moment in the transfer market. I think obviously we've done a lot of World Cup content, but this is the bread and butter for us in terms of, analyzing how good players are, how successful certain transfers are gonna be, and just like how we think these clubs should be moving, right? So I think with the big stories that have been like in the news recently, one big one was Real Madrid making a move for Rodri as well as Yandy Omande, all right? And
Yeah,
I think that Rodri one, that's a big one because obviously Man City second in the Prem last season. That's their key man. Him and Haaland, right?
yeah.
They're the key men for City. And if City lose Rodri to Madrid this summer, I don't know, man. Like, do you think Maresca? What do you think Maresca can do in that situation? And what's the best they can do, maybe?
Uh, I mean, they signed they signed Elliot Anderson, who I
Yeah,
assume
that's the
was
big one.
designed to play next to Rodri. They signed him so that they could Rodri could have somebody with the legs next to him. It's going to be difficult because right now the only replacement is Nico Gonzalez, but then we've also been hearing rumors of them trying to acquire Bouaddi from Lille. So
Yes,
I reckon that might just be the long term idea to replace Rodri to have Bouaddi. But the issue is difficult to that's a difficult deal because obviously they've already paid 100 and something million for Ellie Anderson, and they're going to have to. I think it's going to be very similar money if they wanted to get Bouaddi.
that's the thing.
So
They're saying
yeah,
around 85 mil, I think. So
or
yeah,
Lille.
yeah. Which
Okay,
in
okay,
this market, like you'd think he's only 18, but
yeah,
he had a good World Cup, and in this
mhm,
market where Anderson, as you said, was 116.
yeah.
It's yeah. But do you think Bouaddi and Anderson is enough? And okay, let me ask this another way. How good do you expect City to be if that's their centre mid partnership next season, and obviously the rest of the
Uh,
team as it stays the same?
well,
Do you think they're challenging for the
honestly,
title?
I mean, there's definitely still in the top four, I'd say, because the rest of the team is still very good. I think Bouaddi is young, so he's gonna take time to accustom. And like I say, he's still gonna grow in the future, and I reckon he's still gonna improve. But to come into the Premier League at 18 and to do the job that Rodri's been doing, I don't see it happening for at least a couple of years. So
Yeah, I agree. It's a
yeah,
big ask. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, Rodri's their key man. I think, and I don't think that would be the idea if they go for Bouaddi. I think maybe they would have been thinking a year ahead. Maybe
okay,
he's there while Rodri and Anderson are there. He can learn
yeah,
and gradually take over. But I mean, I think if they do lose Rodri, they're gonna have to be very ambitious. And if you go for Bouaddi, I think you still go for another top centre mid. And the guy I'm saying 100% is Adam Morton, because
yeah,
I don't see anyone else like in world football who's not already at a top club in terms of the Barca's, Reals, the teams that City can't buy from like
yeah,
easily, right? He's the only one who I think has the ability to be at the same level as a Rodri at the moment.
yeah,
So
I see
and
that
then
as
and
well.
then if you've got someone like him next to, he can play next to Anderson in certain games, but in the long term with Bouaddi as well, that's a very good partnership. I feel like a good, very good, like in terms of their strengths.
Yeah,
They mesh well together. So, but I think it's going to take something like that to replace Rodri. Honestly, like
yeah,
anything less than I I don't expect them to have an easy. Well, yeah, look, obviously, as you said, the rest of the team's great, right? And Anderson's a good signing. I do think he's a good signing, but I don't think he's top level in terms of your best midfielder if you're a side challenging for the league and Champions League.
yeah,
I don't think so. I think next to someone that good, yeah. Um, Anderson's a good player, but yeah. So because I mean, obviously they were the main challengers to Arsenal last season, right?
yeah,
And I think with the signings that Arsenal are being linked with, they signed Solis, right, so far, to replace Trossard, who's left to Besiktas. There doesn't seem to be, at the moment, a big change in Arsenal's squad, but maybe they don't need a big change, right? I think that's what a lot of people would say.
Yeah.
Being linked with Bruno Guimaraes, maybe at the centre back, because it looks like Saliba will miss the first few months of the season. Guimaraes and Konza, what do you think that? How do you rate that as a window? If it's Guimaraes, Konza, and Solis, what more do they need? How do you rate that window so far?
Well, okay. Let's put into. Oh, I mean, in terms of players, they're not bad. I don't think Konza's a bad player. I don't think Bruno Guimaraes is a bad player. But I'm thinking that if these guys are going to be, like, for example, Saliba is going to miss the first 3, maybe 4 months of the season with his injury and his surgery. So it's going to be out of Konza and out of Mosquera. I don't think it's. I mean, of course, it's just cover. I don't think that I don't think it's an improvement on any of the players they already have at the team.
Yeah, Guimaraes, would you say he's a starter or?
Again, Bruno Guimaraes is an interesting one, because if I was to look at Bruno Guimaraes, I would suggest that, knowing the workload that Declan Rice has been put through the season, he just might be brought in as a secondary option to Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Somebody who's going to put in that kind of work and have that kind of leadership. But in terms of coming into playing next to Declan Rice, I don't really see that as an improvement in their team.
I agree. And that's the thing. A lot of people would be excited about that. And he's a very good player, Bruno Guimaraes. Don't get me wrong. Very well-rounded. Just a very good central midfielder. And next to Declan Rice, they could play together at a pretty good level, I think. He's not better than Lewis Kelly, though, all round, because Lewis Kelly has some extra special things about him that Guimaraes doesn't have. That press resistance, that ability to drive, through the center of the pitch and pass players as well. He's very good defensively as well, as Guimaraes. And Guimaraes has that experience. So it's a good other option. Along with Zubimendi, you're now in a position where, you're not worried about anything in centre mid. No injury really scares you either.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that depth, but I agree, it's not an improvement on the starting 11. But it's difficult for them to improve on the starting 11, let's be real. That's when you're at the level of a team like Arsenal, you need to essentially go, all right, where can we improve our team? Like Saka, of course, right? Obviously one of their best players. Realistically, Arsenal cannot sign a player in world football that is better than Saka. So obviously it would just make no sense to target that, right? Centre mid is difficult to get better than what they have. So Guimaraes is a good signing. But I think the position they need to just focus on, and these are good signings if, like, Guimaraes is a good signing if you sort out left wing and then potentially up front as well. Yeah. Right? And they've been linked to Vinny Italy, which that's the perfect signing, right? That's literally, if I'm building a squad, you got Saka on one side, and who's the perfect guys I have on the other side? I would probably say Vinny. I'd probably, if that's the two, I'd probably want to play Havertz over Gyökeres, just because I feel like Havertz will help Vinny more. Saka, it doesn't really matter who's playing with up front, but just in terms of getting the best out of Vinny. But it's a great mix. It's do you think it's who they should be going for, and do you think it's realistic? What do you expect to happen with this?
Well, first of all, if I don't think there's any other better players that would be, the reason they say Arsenal's looking at Vinny is because we're looking at the situation at Real Madrid and thinking that Mbappe might just take that position, because out of the two, in my opinion, I think Mbappe is the one I would rather have playing on that off that left. And Vinny's he's a fantastic player, but I just think that Mbappe has that edge over him.
It's never going to be perfect. there. You know, they're getting the best out of both of them. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's been difficult. We've seen managers like Ancelotti struggle, Xabi Alonso struggled to do it, and I personally think that the only way Jose can deal with it is just to pick one, and you know, if they would, like, you know, maybe if they want to sell the other one and make some money and then replace them with somebody else. But yeah, in terms of how realistic it is, you know, it's difficult to try and take guys from Real Madrid because, you know, these guys, they get used to the weather, they get used to the lifestyle living in Madrid. So
he's got a year left on his deal, though, right?
they've been struggling to come to a new contract. So that's the one thing I think Arsenal have in their favor. That Real Madrid haven't really, you know, there's not really been any movement on that contract. And I believe Arsenal they've been trying to spend money this summer, but they just haven't really had the chance. So this would be a good way for them to kind of splash out and to show their intent. For the coming season.
Honestly, for me, if they can, if it's gonna be like, okay, an amount that's the only thing they can spend on, I think it's still worth it to go for Vinny, honestly, because these other signings, Guimaraes, cool. Like, yeah, it's nice to have more depth. It's nice to be completely secure that nothing can go wrong in that position. But it's not as like the jump they can make in terms of their top level. He'll score goals. He'll score a lot of goals in that Arsenal team. I think what Arsenal fans, I don't know if they don't know or they don't want to admit, but it's difficult for their attacking players a lot of the time. You know, they ask a lot of them in their setup, right? Because they don't get the ball in dangerous positions as often as you might expect at a real top team.
Yeah.
That's the thing with them, right? So Saka does, he's the only guy that manages it. Out of all of their attackers, you know, Trossard always shows up with goals and assists here and there out wide. But Saka's the only one that manages to be completely effective in their system. And it's because you need to have everything, basically, right? You're doing so much of it. You're picking the ball up. You might have to beat a couple guys. And Vinny's not a Saka in that sense. Like, oh, he got everything, but he's got those special qualities that he's gonna have these moments. He's gonna get past players. That final action, he's so good at it. He's up there in the world in terms of that, especially when you let him get into a flow state. And yeah, I think that's the game changer for Arsenal. That's what takes them to the level of a great Prem side. Because they're not right now. Let's be real. They won the Premier League, of course, but there are Premier League winners that are part of the, you know, the great Premier League sides in history. And I'd say Pep and Klopp's recent teams are the ones that have joined that you know, that pantheon with some of the United Fergie teams, some of the Wenger teams, etc.
Absolutely,
Jose. But to go to that level, a Vinny signing does it. So you just put all your resources towards that, in my opinion. And I get I think the one question might be the wages, right? Messing up a wage structure. You have to be careful for sure, because what you don't want is a situation where you have to start paying, I don't know, Havertz is already on a lot of money. Where you have to start paying like a Hincapié, like 180k, because Vinny's on 500. You know what I mean? It's like, that's when you get to the point. And maybe Hincapié is on something close to that, to be honest. Now, they're gonna have to pay higher wages.